Hello, everybody, and welcome finally to the 17th annual Stony Brook University Game Programming Competition. Sorry for some of the technical snafus, but we're all set now. And I would like to thank the Stony Brook Game Developers student organization that's running this event. They did so last year. They did a great job. I want to thank all of the students who have worked so hard in difficult times on their projects. And I want to thank the judges, of course, who are here giving some of their own time to come and give encouragement and feedback to the students who've made these games. So enjoy the event. Take it away. Our hosts from the Stony Brook Game Developers, we have Norman Dang and Keating Wu, current and future presidents.
All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stony Brook 17th Annual Game Programming Competition. I'm your host, the current president, Norman Dang.
I'm your co-host. I'm Keating, and I'm the current secretary of the Stony Brook Game Developers.
As you can see, we're once again live on Twitch thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, but that won't stop us from presenting you 11 amazing games made by Stony Brook students. But as you can also see, it's a little bit different compared to last year. We have some new graphics, assets, thanks to our very talented e-board, who worked very hard to help put all this event for everyone together.
The overlays aren't the only things that are different this year. For this year's competition, many of our games are made with Wolfie 2D, an engine made by Joe Weaver, who is one of our students in Stony Brook, and our professor, Professor McKenna.
Speaking of animals, I believe the first game in our lineup this year is called Animals Revenge.
Animals Revenge? That's kind of scary after I ate chicken and beef for dinner just a while ago. They won't be mad, right?
I guess the only way to find out is to hear from the masterminds themselves.
Okay. This is our game Animals Revenge. It's a tower defense game, which I think all of you are pretty familiar with, but if you're not, it's basically there's waves of enemies and they're trying to reach a goal, and if they reach the goal, they lose health, or you lose health. And to defend against these waves of enemies, you have a variety of towers to choose from, and you can place them down, and they'll attack the enemies, and you have to make sure you place them strategically, otherwise you're gonna lose. So our game features a progressive storyline. So each level, you're gonna get closer to the story, and there's kind of different ways we show the story progression. So one is the towers. Each level you get a new tower. There's also new enemies each level, and obviously each level looks different. So it kind of tells you um, kind of where you're going, where you're heading towards. So just for this demo, we're gonna do infinite health, infinite money, unlock all levels, just to make sure we can demonstrate this game well. So as we can see, the first level is the farm level. And so this game is basically animals getting revenge on humans for all like the bad stuff we do, whether that be like climate change, polluting the ocean, poaching animals, basically all that bad stuff. So now the animals are finally rebelling. So every so often we'll have a cutscene. So for this cutscene, we see like there's a farmer, a chicken, and a cow, and they're basically like looking at each other, not really know what's going on. And then the farmer's like, wait, maybe these animals, like, wouldn't it be funny if they like started a rebellion for some reason? I mean, that's not gonna happen, right? And he's like, wait, that chicken is wearing a military cap. It's kind of strange. And he's like, oh crap, they're actually fighting back. And so this is the first level, the farm area. As we can see, up top is your health. For now, it's infinite. So is our money. It's wave 1 out of 5, and we're starting out with 2 towers, the chicken tower and the cow tower. So you can select a turret, and here you see the range of its attack. So it has a pretty decent range, so we'll just place it here for now. Each tower has some upgrades, so we have an attack speed upgrade, which would increase the attack speed from 2 attacks per second to 3 attacks per second, and then we have a range upgrade, which obviously increases range. So we're going to start the wave, and so we can see here we have some farmer enemies, and so they're pretty like average enemy. They have decent movement speed and decent health, so it's pretty easy to take them down. Can speed it up a little bit just so this farmer gets over here. There we go. Now we're on wave 2 out of 2. We would get some money after completing the wave. Now we're going to show off the cow tower. So this has slightly lower range than the chicken tower, and that's because its attack actually has an area of effect. So as we can see, as long as enemies are in this burp cloud, which is what we call it, enemies will constantly take damage. So if you place it well, it can do a lot of damage. And we can see its upgrades are damage and an attack speed aura. So any ally towers within its range will actually get attack speed if you choose this upgrade. So if you have a lot of towers within its range and get the upgrade, it can be really helpful. So we'll just move on to the next level. So after we defeat the farmers in the farm, we move on to the forest. And we can see that after we defeated the farm, we get the spider tower. And so basically, the spiders joined because they're kind of tired of humans always destroying their webs. Um, so we'll just show off the spider tower with the cow tower because I think that's a really good combo. So the spider tower is more of a supportive tower and it constantly slows enemies. So we'll just see this in action. And so as you can see, it's a pretty good combo because the cow tower wants enemies to constantly be in their burp cloud. So the spider tower and the cow tower are a really good pairing. And as we can see, the spider tower has a slow upgrade and a defense shred upgrade. So the slow upgrade would increase the strength of its slow, and the defense shred would actually add an attack to the spider, so it can actually attack. Um, and also in this level, soldiers actually introduced because they realized the animals are kind of starting to get close to human population, so they want to kind of stop the rebellion. But we'll see that in the next level. And now we get another cutscene, and so here the animals are kind of starting to reach the cities, and there's a soldier and he's reporting the situation, but then a cow pops up and he's like, oh my god, burp cloud's coming in from the south, get out. And then before he can tell his wife that he loves her, he dies, unfortunately. But for the animals, that they're pretty happy about that.
Well, after being the 4th level, we gained the Eagle Tower. And so the Eagles were fed up with deforestation, so they decided to join the cause. And the Eagle Tower is a high offense and low attack speed type of tower, and it basically ignores the enemy's defense. And it has 2 upgrades. One that will increase its damage it produces, and then the other upgrade will basically increase the damage the towers around it do. Basically attack with lightning bolts from the sky, and you see the soldier enemies that Daniel was talking about before. And the soldiers are basically a tankier version of the farmers, and if you speed it up, you'll see the super soldiers, and the super soldiers are slower but tankier than the normal soldiers. We're gonna move on to level 4, which is the zoo level. After beating the beach level, you gain the penguin tower, which is basically the same, like similar to the chicken tower, where it shoots projectiles at the enemies. But unlike the chicken tower, it has a lower area of attack and decreases the speed of the enemy. You see, it has 2 upgrades: one to increase the attack speed and one to increase its buff. And yes, the super soldiers there. And there's also another enemy that's introduced. If I think that's in another wave. In this level, basically, with the zoo level, we're trying to help the elephants escape the zoo, and and then there's the new enemy, the robot dogs, which are faster, uh, fast but very squishy. So you want to defeat them quickly before they reach the end.
Yeah, so unfortunately they got through. They were a little bit too fast for us. I mean, we didn't place many turrets down, but obviously you wouldn't want to do this in game. You'd probably lose. And so now the rebellion is closing in on like metropolis cities. So now we're in like a parking lot of a fast food restaurant, and there's a kid, and he basically wants some chicken nuggies. And so only if he says please, but before he can say please, this chicken comes out of nowhere and headshots him with an egg. And now they're overreacting to the situation like all Americans do. And he's like, oh my god, no. He was so young. My hopes, my dreams, my nuggies. And so then the level starts in the parking lot.
After freeing their brethren from their prisons, the animal army lays siege to the heart of animal cruelty, fast food restaurants. The humans trapped within the restaurants attempt to break free of the encirclement by rushing through the parking lot. However, the animals hold fast with their new ally, the elephants, who joined the army after being free from the zoos. The Elephant Tower features a global attack that has to be manually set by pressing X on the selected spot. The Elephant Tower features two upgrades where one upgrade increases the accuracy of the water bomb fired by the elephants, and while the second upgrade increases the damage of the water bomb. The Elephant Tower is the most powerful tower. However, its cost and the interval between the water bombs means that high-speed enemies such as drones and robot dogs are more difficult for the Elephant Tower to handle.
So this way features all the enemies you've seen so far. So after we beat this level. So you would want to kind of move the target of the elephant. And so we can see that the elephant is a pretty strong tower. So we'll just move on to the last level. And so here the animals have finally reached the White House. And so there's a cutscene with the president, and the soldier is warning him of the animals that are coming. And the president doesn't care, it's he has the strongest military in the world. And then like, oh crap, they're already here. It's too late. And he's like, get out, Mr. President. And so here we're in like a rose garden in the White House. And so now all the towers are unlocked. And so this is like the final level, the final boss. And so we'll just like kind of show a little demonstration of like kind of all the towers maybe. And so for this level, the enemies can actually go either this way or this way. So for now, they're going this way. And so we can see with all like these pairings, the enemies stand no chance. And so after you beat the final level and you beat the boss, which is the president, you would unlock free play. And so we'll just unlock it here for now. And free play is basically infinite waves, and you're just trying to get as far as you can. So here our record is 0 because we just started, but you would try to get as far as you can. And so the level scale or the wave scale. So for now it's just farmers and soldiers. But as you would go on and increase your record, there would be stronger enemies, and at some point there would just be like presidents all over the place. But at that point, hopefully you would have like a good strategy in place. And so that's our game. Thank you very much.
Uh, is that a cue to go? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right. All right. So, hello. I apologize for my camera not working. All right. So, my first question would be, what inspired you to produce this game? My first question would be, the judge panel observes that it has some similarities to games they played before.
Yeah, we were trying a lot of genres out, or brainstorming a lot of genres that we would want to try, and we were kind of first coming up with like funny ideas, honestly, and we like really liked the ideas of like the player playing a perspective other than like humans, or like a different perspective basically that still had some like real world like meaning. So we kind of like the ideas of animals, and we really like the funny ideas of like animals rebelling against humans and using like these funny attacks like the burp cloud. And so then we thought like a tower defense game would be a really good way to kind of showcase this, because you can still kind of show a story, show different enemies, and show different like animals. And we thought that was like a really good idea, so we went for it.
So, hey, Martin here. So, besides the theme, which I think is great, and by the way, you guys did a great job, what would you say is the biggest differentiator between what you guys have done and some of the other popular tower defense games? It's a kind of a hard genre because there's not too much variation you could do. But what do you think is the biggest differentiator?
Probably the story and the variety of kind of towers we have. Usually, like tower defense games, or like most, don't really have like a story, so it's kind of hard to get invested in it. You're just basically fighting waves of enemies, like for no real reason. So this is kind of like just a story, so there's a point to do it. There were some things we wanted to implement, but we didn't have enough time. But we were still happy with the final product that we ended up with.
Right. Yeah, I was wondering, who did the writing for this, and how long did it take for you to come up with the story, and is there an ending?
Yeah, so yeah, there is an ending. Unfortunately, we didn't get. I mean, we didn't beat the final wave to see it, but there is an ending, and it kind of recaps the story and shows like what happens afterwards. Um, and we all honestly came up with the story. First, we had like one idea, and then like that sparked other ideas. And the story kind of like progressed on its own as we worked on the game. The story progressed. So I say it was like a process that took the whole production cycle.
Just one more question from me. What would you say was the hardest thing to implement in this game from a technical point of view?
Um,
I think it's the circle to the AABB collision, because the Wolfie 2D engine doesn't provide the circle, so we had to actually manually implement it into the system so that we could actually use it for the tower ranges and the enemy hitboxes.
and I would also like to add, I think like adding like a speed up feature to the game to make the waves go faster was also tricky, because you still wanted to like maintain a good sense of speed for the player, but you didn't want it to go too fast, and it was hard to implement that for all features in the game, like the towers, the enemies. You had to basically speed up the game in all aspects.
Great, good answer. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. You did
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
And we're back.
I guess after seeing this game, I should be a bit more careful about what I eat.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Hey, Norman, have you ever watched Doraemon before?
No, I haven't.
Well, when I was little, I really wish I could use those magical items when I run into problems in my life. Having a door that allows you to travel to anywhere you want, or eating a bread that makes you memorize things before an exam would be really nice and convenient.
That does sound very convenient. And this next game, Card Capsule, I heard lets you use cards to move around.
Say no more! Next up on the menu, card capsules!
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Card Capsules. So, just a brief introduction. My name is Sheng Wei, and my teammates are Garrett and John, which is also with me today. All right, so getting right into the game. So, Card Capsules is a game about collecting cards and using them to traverse the level. So, here we're going to get our first card, which is the floating block card. If we click on it on the bottom of the screen, we're allowed to place it anywhere where there's open air. So I can put it here, over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna cancel it right now and show you something else. So down here is a little rock monster, and to kill it, all you have to do is just step on him. I'm gonna head up to him and step on him. All right, there we go. It's gone. All right, now to use this card, I'm gonna click on it again and then put it over the gap. It's gonna build a floating platform, and to complete each level, we're gonna click this gold card. We're gonna run over it. That's level 1. All right. Next level, we're gonna show off the new card, which is a spring card. So I'm gonna use it to. First of all, I can put the spring block only near another block, so only on the floors, only near the walls. I'm gonna put it on the floor right now. If I put it on the floor, it's gonna push me up, and if I put it on a wall, it'll push me to the side. And then I can also combine these cards together to jump even higher. So I'm gonna put the floating block card first, and then put a spring on top. Get even higher. Okay. So another cool thing is that the spring block can also be used on enemies. So here we go. You can see this little rock monster is actually floating. all right. Okay. So that guy's gone. I'm gonna head to the next level. So yeah, cards can also affect enemies. All right. In this level, I'm gonna show off some of these UR buttons up here that we can use. These buttons aren't really necessary to complete the level, but they're pretty useful. So this first button right here is called the binocular button. If you click on it, you're allowed to move the camera around based on where your mouse position is. So I can check down here. All right, see there's something up there as well. All right, pretty handy. So I'm gonna click cancel now. Let's continue. All right, it seems like the only thing I can do right now is to jump in this hole. Okay. Kill this guy real quick. Collect these cards. And head back out. All right, so here I'm going to show you what the next button do. So when we were creating this game, there were people that often misplaced their cards, and they were like, "Oh no!" Like, okay, right here, I misplaced my card. Like, what do I do now? Gotta restart the level. Oh, this is the restart button. But you could restart button. You can do the restart level button, but we now have an undo button as well. It's pretty handy. So I click on it. I get my card back. Card's gone. I can cancel, I can move around, put it where I want. Pretty handy button. And one thing to note is you can only restart, you can only undo once. So if I undo, I cannot undo again. So I cannot get that one back. So if you make 2 mistakes, you're gonna have to restart a level. All right, so here, I guess I'm gonna put a card here, jump up. Okay, so here's where the puzzle part comes in. Now you probably will realize that, well, I can't go across this gap. I can't do anything here. Well, look, I have a card up there, so I guess now I can restart, undo that. So that was a mistake. Shouldn't place it there. But if I go here, place the block here, select this card, go over here, jump down. I can actually reach up here on this side of the map and use this card that I got before to grab those 2 extra cards up there. Okay, get through. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to use it. One right here. Go across the gap. And oh no, wait. Okay. So right here, the trick is that you're supposed to save both cards to complete this level. So right there, I just messed up. So I got to restart. I could undo, but I can't get my other card back. So here, good chance to test out the restart button. All right, now speed run time. Grab the cards. Move up here. Go again. All right, I'm gonna jump down. Head up. Grab those 2 cards. And the trick is to go to the left. All right, I'm gonna pop up again. And now I can jump all the way over the gap. All right, there we go. And complete the level. Just like that. All right, so that was level 3. So right now we're gonna skip all the way to level 6. I'm gonna skip level 6. Okay, so level 6, we introduce a new cards. Well, technically the card is introduced in level 5, but because of time issue, we're gonna start here. This is the drill block card. With this card, you can destroy any block on the screen. For example, this one right here. Right, destroys it. Yep. I don't do that because I don't want to do that. I'm gonna use it to destroy these 2 blocks here. And then jump on this guy real quick. All right, he's dead. Grab 2 more drills. All right, so move through the level. All right, now we see the cactus monster. So for this cactus monster, there's actually no way to kill it. And if you touch it, you'll get killed. So what we want to do right here is to use the drill card. I guess we can drill the bottom. All right, now that the guy falls down, hop over. Okay, there's a lot of them here. I'm going to use the spring card. Hop over all of them, collect all those cards here. Spring card again. And don't mess this up. All right, there we go. Drill cards. Let's go. All right. At this point, here's a good spot to show up the binoculars. So if I want to place a card here, it's kind of hard to see exactly where I'm placing it at. But if I use the binoculars along with the card placements, shift the camera a bit, I can place the card much easier. I'll wait for the cactus fall. There we go. I'm gonna cancel the binoculars. Hop down. And okay, there we go. Click those cards. Jump down here. And yep, that's it for this level. Okay. All right, let me see if I have enough time. All right. So for the previous level, I wish to show everyone something else. I'm gonna speed run this level with a different strat. People can try this too, but it's gonna be a bit hard. So here's a speed run strat. Grab these 2 cards, draw those. I'll step on this guy, grab these cards. Now here's a speed run strat. I'm gonna break through the ceiling. All right, this is okay. Yeah, I just broke through the ceiling. Yeah. Very strange, very strange. Now I'm gonna jump down, collect these 2 cards, use a spring, and then here I'm gonna try to avoid this. All right, looks like I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna do it real quick. All right, this is gonna be tricky. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. All right, now I avoided that. There we go. I saved this one drill card for this bit right here. All right, drop down. Gotta do this quick. Do this quick. Go over here. Go here. Collect this 1 card. Drill down. And that is the speed run. All right. Thank you all very much.
Hey, game looked awesome. It looked really fun. Um, I had a question about the cards themselves. Like, how did you pick the cards? And did you guys consider any other options like deck building or anything like that?
Okay, so originally the idea was like, yeah, I really like card games and deck building and stuff. So I kind of want to add in like cards to the game, but in the end we just stick with those 3 cards with those 3 abilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually did consider a few other additions. However, just due to time constraints and the difficulty of implementing them, we didn't implement those cards. However, I think we were able to come up with really good puzzles with the ones that we had, and even with just those alone, I think there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, Yeah, so for the level design themselves, like we saw that at least in the last level there was like 2 ways to beat the level, right? Like are all the levels like that or
Okay, so that level 6 was that strat was just found out by like some testers. It was pretty hilarious, and I thought it was nice to show off. And it is pretty quick as well, so it's pretty interesting. It's a speed run method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the other levels also have alternative solutions, although they're usually the same combination of cards you need that are pretty strict. However, it's not like you have to always place this block in this spot or like that block in another. There's like different combinations you can do with the blocks and springs in particular that can kind of be interchangeable. But yeah, there is a few different ways.
Cool. Thanks guys.
Thank you.
Well, that was a very interesting card game, wouldn't you say?
I thought it was a puzzle game.
I mean, there were cards.
No, it's a puzzle game, man.
Oh, speaking of magical powers, wouldn't it be nice to live on the moon one day with magic?
Is that how you're going to cut our argument right there? I'm sure that if the moon is not flat and it has water, maybe one day we can potentially live up there.
But what will we eat?
Our next game, Crash Planting, deals with exactly that. Let's go see it, shall we?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Weaver, and I'm going to be showing you my game Craft Planting today. Craft Planting is a 3D puzzle game I made in Unity for CSE 381 with Doc Guo, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. So the idea of this game is that you use plants that are in seed pack that you find throughout the world in order to solve puzzles. So first here, we're a bit trapped in a crater, and we need to find a way out. So we can use the daisy seed we just found to plant a daisy to escape. Now, we're probably going to need this daisy again later, so I can just press the R button here and recall the daisy to use later. So throughout the world, you have the plants at your disposal to interact with the surroundings, but you can also interact with a lot of other objects in the world. So in order to cross this river, I'll just push boulder into the stream, and now I should be able to walk across. So as it says here, most plants have multiple uses. So here, there's some falling sand that I can't make it through. So what I can do is plant a daisy in the way to act as an umbrella to let me pass through. Now, this game wouldn't be very exciting if there was only daisies to interact with in the world. So there's of course going to be other plants. Now, at the moment, I can't get up this hill. But if I have a pumpkin, maybe that can help make it a little bit easier. So what I can do here is I can use this pumpkin by advantage to weight down this lever. Well, if I can get it to stay. Oops. All right. So if I plant the pumpkin or lay the pumpkin down, I should hopefully be able to make it. There we go. And I can just call that back to myself. So, pumpkins have a few other uses in this world. They act as weights, so we can also use them to hit buttons to help us gain access to areas we wouldn't be able to reach otherwise. So, if I drop the pumpkin on this button, to make a bridge accessible that I can use to cross over. Now, there's some ruins here that to move further up into the world, we need to get around. So, I currently can't reach it. But now that I have multiple plants, there's a lot of different ways I could use them to my advantage. So, now, as the player, I could figure out that I need to use a combination of plants to solve puzzles here. So, I can do the same trick with the pumpkin as before, and using the daisy as a platform, maybe in a slightly different location, I should be able to jump on to the next part of the game. There we go. All right. I'll just recall my plants. So now we get another plant, the trumpet plant. Now, unlike the other two, we have the daisy that acts as the platform, the pumpkin that acts as a weight. Now, the trumpet plant is going to push other objects around. So here I've got a little platform on a lever that I should be able to use to cross this canyon, but I need it to move. So if I use a trumpet plant and give it a little push to start it, I should be able to use this to get over to the other side. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the next plant so I can show off the features of that. So I just walk out to the cliffs here. I reach the next area of the game. Now, we've got quite a big wall to climb up here, and the daisy really isn't going to cut it. So I hope this next plant will help us out. So what we've got here is a mushroom. And as the floor says, mushrooms are bouncy. So I can use this to get around these ledges if I use a little bit of problem solving. So thankfully I already know the way, but you might have to a couple of tricks if you're solving this for the first time. So I'll place that there. And now I should be able to climb out of this canyon. All right. Now we've got a button up there, right? Nice, pretty easy to get to, except for all right. We'll be back now. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to skip ahead from this puzzle to the last planet in the game. So I'll hop over there really quickly. So the last planet we're going to get access to is the Dragon Breath plant, and that's going to use fire to be able to burn down wood that's in the world. So, oh, didn't quite catch that time, but all right. So this should set this wall on fire and allow us to cast. So we just need to wait until it burns down, and we should be able to get through. All right. And now, once we have a lot of plants, this is where things can start to get tricky. We've got quite a little bit of a setup here. So we have wood that we can burn. However, these platforms to get up here are also made of wood, so we have to be careful. Additionally, we have a button that's trapped in this little wood house here. So we have to do some tricky stuff. So first, place down the pumpkin, and then we'll set up a trumpet plant to blow that pumpkin towards the button. Right, and now we can set up a mushroom to help us get up onto this platform, and then we can set everything on fire. So let's do that real quick. So we got to quickly get up before these platforms burn down. And now we should be able to see fire start. Or maybe the fire didn't actually start. All right. Like the fire didn't want to start that time. So I'll try one more time. Try to start fire. Now it starts. Now I've got to run. Oh, except I didn't make the jump. And oh no, the trumpet plant despawned. Well, if the trumpet plant hadn't despawned, it could have blown the pumpkin onto the button when the shack burned down and gotten us through the door. But I don't know if I have time to run through that again. So I'll leave it at that. And thank you all very much for watching my game.
All right.
Oh, I was just wondering. Sorry about that. Alec, can you go? Sorry, it's echoing in
No
my
problem.
ear.
Hey guys, it's Alec here. I was just wondering. I thought the game was really interesting and had a lot of cool ideas in it. I was just wondering, how did you come up with the structure of like the more open level design versus like a couple of like distilled challenges that were more separate?
So I really liked the idea of like building a map and like drawing out a map that incorporated all the levels. I like wanted you to be able to sit anywhere and like be able to see the rest of the world. So I kind of like painstakingly drew the map out on paper ahead of time because I don't know, I just thought it was interesting.
All right, that's awesome. I like that a lot.
Like,
Yeah, so I'm just curious about how you have the physics interactions set up. Like, can the trumpet plant blow other particles like fluids, the fire particles from the dragon's breath?
so no, it's only set up to interact with other solid objects right now. That would be interesting to have it, spread fire particles or to add like liquid physics for puzzles. That would be definitely a cool thing. But currently, it's just set up for other like solid bodies.
Oh, that was a very interesting about plants. I'm sure we're not gonna see another one, are we?
Norman, what other plans do we have for tonight?
Don't you mean plants?
Don't interrupt me when I feel like making puns.
Didn't you just make a pun?
No. Listen to this. Imagine you're a gardener. Why couldn't you plant any flowers?
Why?
Because you didn't botany. And guess what? The next game on the list is Dr. Botany, and that will give you a chance to botany.
Let's move on to the next game before you make any more puns.
Hi, so this is Dr. Botany. My name is Charlie, and my group mates are Tian-Xin, who you can see, and Paul, who will be playing the game. So I guess we'll just jump into it right now. So Dr. Botany is a top-down twin-stick shooter inspired by games like Nuclear Throne and Enter the Gungeon, and the main concept is that your plant has to be fed to grow each level. That's the objective, that's how you finish each level, and as you feed your plant, its mood will shift. So as you fight enemies, it'll drop uppers and downers, and then you have to feed them to your plant, and as that happens, different effects will take place within each level, which we will kind of get a taste of in a second. This is really just the introduction to the game, where the plant is contextualizing what you're going to be doing.
As you can see, there was a pill bottle just dropped in the start of the level. He's gonna pick that up. And that's our first weapon, projectile weapon.
So this is a tutorial level, so the requirements for growing your plant are very low. I believe it's 2. So now the plant has grown, and the final wave is taking place. So all the enemies that were stored up will now start to swarm the player, and they have to survive to the end of the next level.
So if you missed it again, after the growth bar reached 100%, the plant grew and it said final wave. So now he's on the final wave, and now the tutorial level is done.
Now we'll jump into the game proper. So this level is pretty similar to the other one, but it introduces 2 new enemies into it. Previously you saw slimes and mushrooms, which are simple, what we're calling ram enemies. Basically they just try to attack you, or they try to attack the plant by like ramming into them. But you'll also get to see carrot enemies that kind of like fling themselves across the playing field to try and attack you.
Right over there.
And
if you see, he just picked up a health bar right over there, which gives you 1 extra life. One of the support items we have, and we also have right over there an ammo pack just spawned.
And, Paul just picked
so
up...
what that does is that.
There you go. Ahead.
So he just picked up an ammo pack, and that gave the trash lid. If you look at the top left corner, it gave him 10 more ammo. So the trick is that if you're gonna pick up an ammo pack, usually if you want to make sure that your items are both, they have a refill. The shovel is unlimited, so you would rather have weapons in your inventory that can increase in ammo.
And so this is the trash load. This is one of the 3 weapons that we've implemented. So it's basically like a boomerang type weapon. And Paul has been accruing a bunch of uppers and downers, but he hasn't deposited yet. So as he deposits them, it can be a little hard to see, but Paul died. Basically, once you deposit enough uppers and downers, a mood effect will start to take place, and that will change certain aspects of the game. So the rate of attack for the player, the spawn rate for enemies, how many enemies are on the screen, how slow or fast the player or the enemy can move. So it's kind of this risk-reward certain thing of, I want to feed my plant in order for it to grow and finish the level, but I could potentially get some sort of debuff. But I also could get, just a nice buff as well. So that's kind of the toss-up there for this system. And I guess, Paul, if you want to skip ahead to the later levels, so we can introduce the last enemy and then kind of get a sense of what the game is like working all together. So as the levels progress, the seasons change, and the requirements to grow your plants increase, and the number of enemies increase. So we tried to keep a pretty consistent difficulty curve going through the game. So this level is pretty similar to the previous one, but now we'll probably see one shortly. But okay, so we have that other enemy, which is a bomb. And the bombs are really dangerous for your plant. So for most enemies, they'll only hurt the plant a little bit, but if the bomb gets close to it, it'll wipe out a huge chunk of the plant's growth.
Right over there, as you saw. I don't know if Paul mentioned this for the mood effect, but there's usually, in most cases, you're gonna have a buffing effect where it's gonna be an advantage. Maybe the player increases in speed, or your weapons do more damage. But there is a chance that you're gonna get something that will be a disadvantage, and we just wanted to add a little probability into the game, where if you choose to reach that mood, you might get you might have a disadvantage, but the reward is very, very good, so I guess it's like if you want to take the risk or not in that case.
So Paul, do you want to move on to the winter levels so that we can kind of get a sense of what is the top tier of what's happening? So by the time you get to winter, You've learned all the game mechanics. You've kind of seen everything the game has to offer, so we kind of just cranked all the numbers up to 1,000. Not literally 1,000, but there are many more enemies. There's more things spawning in, and the requirements for growth are much higher. So this is kind of like the apex of all that you've learned while playing Dr. Botany.
I guess we should also mention the cheats that we also have for, you know.
Can't actually tell. They probably use the cheat. So the cheats that we have are simply to make you invulnerable, to give you a bunch of ammo, to drop any weapon in the game, and to skip total levels. So it seems like Paul is currently cheating at our game and is invulnerable. So Paul, could you try and like get like some of the mood effects going so we can kind of demonstrate those a little bit more? Yes. So I can't have to read, but yeah, but basically you can. This is my favorite one because you can just fire extraordinarily fast. So all of our mood effects are kind of in the vein of taking all of the like data parameters that we've defined for the game already, and then trying to tweak them. So you know, we have like how fast things spawn, how many of a certain thing spawn, how quick you can fire, and just trying to figure out ways to very quickly and easily iterate and tweak those kinds of effects.
Now we reached the.
I used the final wave, and you might see, I think it's like 50 enemies or something, just run at you. Now we've got some good projectiles flying everywhere.
Now you just have all the projectiles flying everywhere because.
Right now. Oh my god.
So Paul is just here showing off his skills.
Definitely not cheating. Yeah. Alright, well, that's Dr. Botany in a nutshell. Thank you all very much for watching and listening to us talk about our game.
Hey guys, great job on your game. I was curious about kind of the considerations that you made on feedback to the players. So I noticed a lot of, a lot of sound considerations, the animations you were giving. Like, what were some of those thoughts in terms of how you were giving that information out to the player, and things you might have dropped off or missed as a result?
So a lot of our considerations were trying to convey, key information to the game. So did you get hit? Did you deposit materials? Did you pick something up that's beneficial for you? Did the plant finish its growth? So those were the things that we were really focusing on. Very early on, we didn't have like any feedback for getting hit, so that was definitely something that when we had people play it, were telling us. I had no idea I was close to dying, so we had to put in work on that. I feel like in terms of the like conveying things to the player, I feel like we did a pretty good job of that in terms of making sure people can tell what's happening. In terms of what we dropped the ball on, I think that there was more kind of like stuff to happen in each level that we probably could have included to spice things up a little bit more.
To add on to what he was saying, it's just that there are a lot of things that are going on in our game. We have to pick up materials, give it to the plant. If a mood effect reaches, so it was key for us to make sure that when something happens, it's known. And if I made it we implemented it so that if it's a happy mood, it'll be green. We'll have something in green. If it's something that's bad, it'll be in red. So we wanted to make it clear that the player knows what's happening.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I'm not.
He's our teammate.
Recently it's been getting really hot as hell recently.
Yeah, especially after taking the second shot of Moderna and getting a fever in this hotness. Thankfully, I survived, so it was not that bad. But is hell as hot as the Moderna side effects?
No, I mean, hell has fire, has lava, monsters.
Monsters? How will you even survive down there?
No, I'm sure at the next game, Hell's Fury will show us how.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aditya.
I'm Edward.
And we are proud to present Hell's Fury. It's a top-down dungeon crawler game based around our main character, Zara, who has grown so tired of the demons of hell ruining her life that she's decided to go down there to teach them a lesson. So the point of our game is that Zara wants to go down and meet the 7 deadly sins, each who rule over their own layer of hell. We start out here with Lust and his lascivious lair. You can see Zara is moving around with the WASD keys, and she can attack in the direction that the mouse is facing. The Hellbats are the basic enemy in Hell. They take 2 hits in Hell, and they drop coins. The point is to find each of the 7 sins located at the center of the map or in a specific part of it, and to defeat them while collecting coins and upgrading your abilities at the shops. So you can see Ryan here is demonstrating the game for us. He's running through the first level right now, which is a tutorial level, just to get the player acquainted with the game. Now you see that our second basic enemy is the Hellhound. They have a special ability where they can teleport next to Zara to try and bite her. So yes, each enemy does 1 heart of damage when you collide with them, which does make the game a little difficult, but thankfully, the shop allows you to regain health by spending the coins that you collect from killing all these basic monsters. So you can see here that this is the boss room, and if you go in there, you can't really come out until you beat the demon. So you have the choice to go in there and face Lust already, or you can move up and keep looking for the shop. In this case, you can see the shop has 2 options, either 5 coins for a heart, or 10 coins to purchase a damage upgrade. So for the first level, I always recommend buying a damage upgrade just to get more acquainted with the game, or make it easier to go through, as the Hellbats will now die in 1 hit, and the Hellhounds will die in 2. So as part of the theme, we wanted to incorporate, you can see Lust here, and that's his health bar. We wanted to make sure to make each level have its own unique boss, representing each of the deadly sins. So for our first level, Lust, he tries to chase around Zara and get a hug. And our second level is Wrath's Wretched Wasteland. Each of the levels has its own gimmick. So Wrath being like the sin of war and anger, before you can move through each room, you have to make sure all of the enemies have been defeated. So you can see there the door opens up. And we tried to make each level relating to each sin have a similar sort of gimmick like that. So each of the art and sound is original. Every level has its own soundtrack, and all of the artwork was created by us using a sprite, and the music we used Petaporon to create. And you can see that each level does have a shop located somewhere. And here we'll buy a couple of hearts just to keep our health looking good. And you can see more Hellhounds. Just gotta get through this level, kill all the enemies. And you can see our second boss here is Wrath. Now she's got a pretty simple pattern where she just runs up and down the room, and you have to try and catch her while she's running. And you can see that once she's been defeated, Zara gets transported to the next circle of hell. Now, for Gluttony's level, the gimmick is that because Gluttony is such a fat food addict, he spills grease everywhere, so the floor is kind of slippery, and that makes movement a little harder and more interesting. And the next level we have is, of course, Sloth. Sloth's sluggish slow. And on this level, the gimmick is that, of course, Zara's movement speed is a little slow, just like Sloth would be because of his laziness. The level after this is Envy. And we have here Envy's Emerald Enclave. And true to how Envy would be in the real world, all of the enemies on Envy's level will also steal gold from Zara when they attack. So you can see, as Ryan takes damage here, his coin count went from 1 to 0 because the enemies have stolen their coins out of Envy. Now, another thing about the Envy level is that it also has the last shop in our game. So the player has to be careful about how they've spent their money so far, and make sure that they've got all the upgrades and the heart containers that they need. Now, for the sake of this playthrough, Ryan's just going to use one of our built-in cheats to get a bunch of money and upgrade his damage to maximum. You can see his coin counter went way up. And probably buy a bunch of hearts too. Just to make sure we don't die playing our own game. That'd be kind of funny. So now you can see the Hellhounds die in a single hit. And that makes the game much easier through the later levels, as the boss health also scales pretty high to make sure that the player doesn't have too easy a time after buying all these damage upgrades. So you can see Envy's design is, because of how much she envies a human like Zara, she's decided to copy her appearance and attack style. And the point of this fight is to try and stay away from her as she's punching you and get in a few hits of your own. Our next level is Greed. And here you'll be able to see why the Envy level has the last shop. So in Greed's Golden Gorge, Zara's greed can be the death of her, meaning that picking up coins will actually damage her. You still get the coin, of course, but now that there's no more shops, there's really no point. So it's just to make sure your muscle memory is sort of against you, which is a kind of interesting gimmick, I thought. So you can see Greed at the center is actually our shopkeeper, which we thought would be a great callback, because the greediest person in hell is likely to be the one making the most money. So after buying all these upgrades from the shopkeeper, we're now using them against him. Now, if we hadn't skipped through some of the levels, all six of the deadly sins would be defeated, and this would be our last one, Pride, who is the ruler of hell. So because Pride is so proud, he didn't feel that he needed any other enemies to help back him up. And he uses the rest of his creation's animations. So you can see here, this is Sloth. And now we have Greed again. So Pride's attacks are just each of the other attacks, or other sins attacks. So at any point, Pride can randomly transform into any of the other 6 sins. Of course, with a palette change to make it clear that this is a different enemy. There's Wrath. Wrath still does her classic go up and down. There's Envy. And with that, Pride has been defeated. Now that's all 7 deadly sins vanquished. So after this, we greet the player. So what's supposed to happen is you get to Victory Valley after defeating Pride. And you can see that in Victory Valley we have all 7 sins caged up now. And Zara's free to sort of fight them as she pleases. And once you've had enough fun beating up on these guys, you can leave and you've beaten the game. So yeah, that's our game, Hell's Fury. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So, really impressive job with the a boss-based game. It's really nice, and I like how they're all different. So my question was, do you think have you guys ever thought of like giving another type of like attack to the player besides like a punch?
Yeah, we did actually have a lot of ideas for another attack. But the coding was a hard for one attack, and we decided maybe instead of diverting those resources, we could put it into just upgrading the attack we had.
Yeah, and I think it worked pretty well. Like you could tell everything was like designed well around it. So good job with that. Yeah. Yeah. That's it for me. Yeah. There's no other judge. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, being stuck in this pandemic really makes me want to go on a vacation.
You mean like the bottom of the ocean?
No, not like the bottom of the ocean.
Well, this next game, Rage of the Sea, takes place at the bottom of an ocean.
Hi everyone, I'm Timothy Sue.
I'm Edward.
And I'm Mike.
This is our game Rage of the Sea. It's a roguelike, beat 'em up, bullet hell type game. The story is that you are on the bottom floor of a cruise ship and you have to battle your way up through 7 floors, attacking sea monsters in order to reach the top of the ship and escape. And the sea monsters are all they're Lovecraftian inspired monsters. And yeah, so we're just gonna start off by we're gonna turn on the room skipping cheat. That's just to help the presentation just be a little easier to jump around. And if you hit the start game button, this is our character, the diver. We have a little backstory for him at the bottom. And when we hit the select button, we'll be taken to the map screen. And Mike, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So basically, we want to incentivize the player to choose their path. Limited time, we can only have so many kinds of rooms, but the way that we've designed it is the player should plan out how they're going to go through each floor and kind of aim to get these shrine rooms you can see represented by the chest. Those are going to have special items for them to make the run a little bit easier, a little more interesting.
Right. So we're just gonna jump right into one of the battle rooms. So this is the diver, and he has an anchor. The left click is the basic attack. So that's the primary attack you'll be using to fight off these monsters. Right click is the secondary attack, and it does a little bit less damage, but it gives a lot more knockback, and you can see the cooldown bar for it at the bottom. And the blue bar is for our dash, and you can activate the dash by pressing spacebar. Basically what that does, it just lets you move around a little bit easier, lets you get into fights or get out of fights. And yeah, so basically you just use a combination of those moves to defeat all the enemies in each room and advance to the next one. So we're just going to traverse through a couple of these. After 2 battle rooms, that's what we call these little these rooms where you fight off these monsters, you'll be given the option to select an item. So we're going to see that in a second right here. This is the item selection screen. So each item will give you different stats to upgrade your character. This one gives speed, this one attack, this one gives max health and defense. So you kind of can customize how you want to play the game. You know, how if you want to build like more defensively, you can get the defense items, or offensively you can get those. And alternatively, you can also heal for a third of your max health on each one of these item screens. However, if you do it too much, you might, you know, start missing out on the items, and that's gonna really hurt you when you get onto the later floors. And if you click on the View Inventory button, you can kind of see all of the items that you've accumulated right here. So you can see the stats that it's giving. You can see the player stats right here on the left side. Here are the stats that you currently have, and on the right side of that are the stats that you've gotten through items. So you can see each of the, we've gotten 3 speed from this one, and you can just hover over that to see that. So we're gonna make our way to the Shrine Room, which is the icon with the chest on it. We're just going to battle our way over to that so that we can show what that does.
Yeah, I guess I'll take it from here. Shrine rooms are randomly generated throughout each map, and these rooms are rare in that no more than 4 will appear in a single floor. So it is represented as a chest icon and involves no actual combat, but instead drops a random item, as if you swing your axe at it right now, it'll drop like a random one and show which one it is. This
So that one
aspect of the game is about risk and reward. So typically, rewards from actual combat will be better, since you'll have a choice between 3 random items, as opposed to a shrine room, which outright just gives you a random item, so you can't select like what build path you want. However, the risk is that you have to battle monsters first to get there. Similarly to the map room, the shrine room is randomly generated. So like, I guess I'll spend like a few seconds talking about the map room a bit more. So as Mike mentioned, the map room allows you to select your path. However, since it's created randomly, each time you load a new floor or each time you start a new game, there are going to be different nodes connecting and different paths you can take, as well as the shrine rooms. Okay, I'll give back to Tim to follow you guys through the rest of the demo.
Yep. So for each floor, you have to make it to the right side edges. So we're on the second to last one, and we're just going to kill all these enemies so that we can kind of show that off. Here's the last one, and after the last floor or the last battle room in each floor, you can advance to the next floor. So we're just going to grab an extra item, and once you click the next floor button, you can see that you get an option to select special items, and these impact more of the actual combat, so it's not just number stats. This one increases your attack speed, this one gives you more knockback on basic attacks, and this one gives increased dash distance. So from here on, we're going to just kind of show off one level from each battle room for the sake of time. On each floor, there's new enemies. So right here is the carrier enemy. So what those do is they move a little bit slower than the normal Kraken monster, but when they die, they drop these Salicina creatures, and those are the ones that shoot air projectiles. So you have to kind of fight off those. So we're just going to take all these out and advance to the next one. And actually, before moving on to the next floor, I'm just going to put on the fill inventory, and that's because we don't have enough time to play through the entirety of the game. So we're just going to give ourselves some items as a cheat, just to demonstrate how these other floors are going to go, because if we went on how we were going, it was going to take a while because we don't have any items. So this new enemy right here is the Dagon. It attacks 8 tiles in front of it, and it's like little ice spikes that come up from the floor, so you have to watch out for those. And so that was the event room. And floor 4 is the dining area. And right here you can see one of the new enemies, the Haster, that has this attack that goes horizontally across the entire tile map. So you have to be careful about those ones. And you can also see that the Salicinas, these projectile shooting, monsters are kind of upgrading on each subsequent floor. And now they're shooting a lot more projectiles, so you really have to watch your footing. And on each floor, the game gets significantly harder. There's a lot more enemies. There's a lot more abilities to dodge, and also the actual stats on the enemies are enhanced as well. So you really have to. You're gonna want a lot of items to kind of fend these monsters off. And right here is the 5th level. I think it's one of the hardest levels, but just because there's a lot of limited space, and you have these little cubbies that you can kind of use defensively. However, you also don't want to get stuck in there, and if you get trapped in here like this, it's pretty hard to avoid getting hit. So like right there, I took some damage, and so we're just gonna clear out these last enemies.
Yeah, so the whole theme of this game is that you're trying to escape a sinking cruise ship. So in the order, you start from the engine room and go to the casino room, then the event room, then dining, then poolside, which we'll get to soon, as well as the bridge. And finally, floor 7 is the boss.
Yep. So right now we're on floor 6. It's the one right before the boss, so we're just going to defeat all these enemies. And as you can see, there's a lot more abilities coming out from, like, compared to previous floors, so like really have to pay attention where you're moving. The game's a lot about the game is about movement, so you kind of have to kite the enemies around, and while paying attention to all the abilities that are coming at you. And so we're just going to kill off the rest of these and show off the boss room. So this is the floor 7, the last floor. This is the Leviathan boss. That it has 4 different moves that all come out relatively quickly. So and the trick is, for this, you probably want to have some speed items before actually trying to take this on, because a lot of the moves come out quickly, and if you're not reacting quick enough to them, it's going to kind of catch you off guard. And so it's going to take a few hits, and yeah, so this is the game over screen, and that's our game. Thank you very much.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, what inspirations did you have for the game? Because I really like it, and it kind of reminds me of some roguelikes that I've played.
So one of the inspirations that I personally drew from was Enter the Gungeon, and also Binding of Isaac. I think Michael kind of had a Slay the Spire kind of game in mind when we were like designing the map, and like the whole game was mostly revolving around the roguelike aspect of it. So that's like the only thing that we had kind of that we definitely wanted. But we went through like a bunch of different ideas for games. We started off with like a puzzle sort of game, and then we kind of moved into beat 'em up sort of direction, and then it kind of turned into like a bullet hell kind of mixed with that. So yeah.
Hi. I guess I just wanted to say that I thought the bullet hell stuff was neat. I guess it was most structured on the boss fight, right? So were you thinking, did you have other boss fights, or was it just the one?
So the only boss fight is the last boss. Originally, we planned to have bosses at the end of every floor. However, we didn't have time to implement all of that. It would take like a lot of extra time. So we tried to make the combat as good as possible and like as many mobs as we could to kind of make like the battle room experience a lot better, and just to put more time into like the final boss. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Take a trip through. Oh, you didn't. Well, would you mind going on a road trip? Well, we can take a trip through the desert in this next game, Road.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rocco, and I'm here with my partners.
I'm Jerry.
My name is Ryan, and today we're showing off our game Road, which is a top-down bullet hell with some roguelike elements, and just demonstrating gameplay for us will be Rocco on his computer.
So here we could see just our main menu, get a little bit of an idea what the game is sort of going to look like. We have a little bit of a preview. We could see our main character here, Max, which is this red car. And we get a little bit of an idea of what some enemies might look like, which is this very basic truck right here. But the main idea behind this game is that you're playing as this character Max, who's in the red car, and he's driving around, and his main goal really is to try to defeat as many members of the Scorpion gang as he can. And while he's doing that, he's trying to gain scrap so that he can upgrade his weapons and his stats as well, which will be very useful as you move through the levels. You'll notice right there, right away, that we don't have a way to choose the level that you start, and that was intentional because we did not want the player to be able to start from anywhere. The main goal is to be able to go from level 1 all the way to the finish. So as you can see right here, the main movement controls are just using the WASD and aiming with the mouse. And we have our crosshair. You'll notice our projectiles are different, so you can keep that in mind as you play. The main goal is really to try to dodge these red projectiles that you see coming from the trucks. And once they die, they drop a piece of scrap on the floor. And in order to pick it up, you have to run it over. So you can see I gained a little bit of scrap there. The main thing with the first level, it's a bit of a tutorial. So you only have your one starting weapon, which is this little pistol. But you will be able to have access to much better weapons as you progress, as long as you have the scrap to buy them. So you can see this is the end of the level here, once we walk through here. And we have our upgrade screen. So as you can see, we have two main areas to pay attention to here. We have our stats section, where we can see all of our different stats, such as max health, our damage, our player speed, as well as our scrap gain. And then we also have a couple of different weapons that we have access to. You'll notice that, of course, you're not going to be able to buy all of the weapons right away or all of the stats, so you have to try to accumulate as much scrap as you can as you move. But just for this little playthrough, I'm going to show you guys the shotgun because I like this weapon a lot. And I think getting scrap gain early is very valuable to make sure you can get some scrap later on, as much scrap as you can. So you can see now we have a couple of different enemies right away. We have that turret enemy as well as some barricades. So the turrets are a bit stronger. They're a bit better at locking on to the player with their bullets. And the barricades are really just meant for to give the player the opportunity to gain extra scrap throughout the level if they have the time. You'll see each weapon functions fairly different from the others. So you can see right away that the shotgun has a burst of fire, and it fires a lot slower than some of the other weapons you might see. But reach sort of the end of the last level, or sorry, not the last level, but the end of the second level here, we're going to want to make sure that we clear all these enemies so we can get as much scrap as possible. Here we are. We're going to grab all of that and move on to the next. So now we're back on the upgrade screen again, and you'll have access to this same set of upgrades, which will carry over in between each level, but not between each run. So every run you will have to start over buying these, which is really cool because you get to kind of experiment with some different weapons, some different stat lines that you can go for, depending on what kind of gameplay you're looking for. So maybe for this next one, I'll take a look at, let's go for the sniper. And let's maybe get some health as well. Maybe a little bit of damage and speed to kind of even out our skills a bit. So we can use the scroll wheel to switch between all of our weapons. In the later levels, you will be encouraged to use different weapons. But you might have noticed right there, we had some snowballs flying around. These are indestructible, and they do lots of damage. So you are really the main way to get around them is just to avoid them. And they block bullets as well, so you definitely need to just be very careful for them. You'll see sniper rifle is pretty powerful. It functions very differently than the other weapons, in the fact that it has a sort of like a laser almost looking line that comes out. So it plays a lot differently than any of the other weapons that you'll see. But you'll notice I didn't really get that much scrap there. So I'm not going to have enough money to buy a new weapon other than maybe let's buy the SMG. And let's go for some more stats, maybe some more damage. One thing you might have also noticed is that you get full health back at the end of each level. So that really makes the max health more valuable because you don't have to worry about healing. You just have to try to reach the end of the level without dying. That's really the main goal. Collecting as much scrap as well. Without the scrap, it'll be very difficult to be able to defeat the later levels. Some of you might also be thinking while you're playing, well, what's really making me kill these enemies other than gaining the scrap? And realistically, you could just let them go towards the end and kind of go off the screen, but you're not going to get any scrap. And trust me, you will definitely need scrap going into the later levels as they get much, much more difficult. So it looks like I have just about enough for the auto shotgun, right? So I'm going to buy that. It's probably my favorite weapon. You also might have noticed that each level has its own music and different enemies. So now you can see we have a different type of enemy. We have these shotgun enemies that are going to be firing at us. They're very difficult. You can see I've taken a lot of damage very quickly. We're going to try to make it to the end of this. This part right here is fairly difficult, but the main thing with this game really is that it's very rewarding to the player because you get much, much better at it every single time you play. What we've noticed in our testing and feedback from other players is that the game can be quite difficult, especially for new players or people who haven't played this genre of game much. But trust us, as you play this game, you will get much, much better. So now we head into the last area of the game. It's one of the last. This is the last level. So it is fairly difficult. We have these tank enemies. You could see they actually fire out 2 weapons. So they have a shotgun burst similar to this automatic shotgun I'm using, and they also fire out missiles which deal 3 damage on contact. So you're going to want to make sure that you have plenty of health heading into this last area. Of course, we're on the last level, so scrap isn't super important. Here you can see, this is in true bullet hell fashion. We have this tense last scene, which I will hopefully not die. There we go. And gotta get all that scrap, right? And that would be the end of the game. That would be one complete run. So while you're playing, you're going to notice that there's lots of different strategies involving different stats. I hope I didn't make the game look too easy, and I encourage all of you watching to go and play it yourself, so you can get a better idea really on the difficulty and the scaling as you move through. But just in case you need them, we do have some cheats built in for you guys. So for example, I can show you. We have access to, if you press M, you can get some free scraps. If you want to just test out some different strategies, test out some different guns, right? We also, if you press I, you can go invincible, so you won't take any damage. And then we also have instant kill mode, which will one-shot any enemy with any projectile. So both of these are very useful. A, for testing, and B, just for, figuring out the game for yourself, learning, the different ways to play it. But one thing that's really nice too about the scrap is that you can use the money cheat on the last area, or in the upgrade screen. So just in case you get to here and you don't have enough money for what you want, you'll always be able to press M and gain a little bit of extra money to buy those weapons. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching us play, and I encourage all of you to check it out if you're interested at all. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you for the demo. Fantastic job. I had a question regarding what drew you guys to use the theme. To me, it seemed a lot inspired by like Mad Max, things like that.
You actually hit the bullseye right there. We actually drew inspiration from like Mad Max. That's why our character's name is Max. And we just want at first we didn't our first idea was actually just to do like a bullet hell with some roguelike elements. And we made it like card themed. We wanted to make it card themed, so we just named our character Max after Mad Max.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Hello, I'm back from my little adventure. Can everyone hear me?
Man, the witch must have taken Norman's voice from underseas. Poor Norman.
Looks like I managed to make it out of all those adventures alive. Now, if only I could go somewhere where like isn't stuff that can kill me.
Like space?
No, not like space.
Well, we can fight aliens as space wizards.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
As space wizards! Come on! Who wouldn't want to be space wizards?
Hello there. My name is Garrison Shu.
My name's Elijah Harris.
Yeah, and our game is called Space Wizards. Now, like a lot of the previous games so far, it's also a twin stick shooter that's most likely set in space, right? It combines a lot of like fantasy elements, and it combines also a lot of sci-fi elements along with it. So now I'm gonna do a demonstration. Let's just do let's see, infinite lives, because I don't want to die. The game does get pretty hard, pretty difficult, and sounds good. Infinite lives. All right, let's go start off the first level. So what you do is you control a wizard, right? And the key to the game is you see on the bottom right, you have 10 waves you have to survive. And you have a limited mana bar. So the main key to our game is that, yes, it's a normal twin stick shooter, but we have these 3 towers at the bottom that can augment your spell. So initially you start off with a laser spell. It does low amount of damage, but you can spam it a lot. As you can see, does a decent amount of damage. And after, you can open the shop you can pick up your Stardust, which is our form of currency, and then you can open the shop at any point. And you see on the left side, we have around 4 different spells to use from. Now we have to unlock the spells by buying them. Now here, we have 3 different towers, as you can see. If you shoot through the towers, you can augment your spells in different and interesting ways. So this is a forking tower, which allows your spells to split into pieces. You have a piercing tower, which you can't tell here, but it will allow your projectiles to pierce through the enemies, and an explosion tower, which makes your projectile explode and hit multiple enemies. So let's see here. Let's just get to the next wave. So now you have multiple spells that you can use. You have the laser spell, as you've seen before, but you also have a comet spell, which kind of functions as like a frostbolt, which slows down enemies, as you can see here. You also have a fireball spell, which does damage over time, and your normal spell. We have also one more spell called the black hole spell, and the black hole spell is interesting because if you use the black hole spell, oh no, wrong spell. Wait. There we go. Using the black hole spell, you can pull the enemy into a location that you want. Now, these enemies are interesting here. They don't shoot, and they're very defensive. They like to hide in their shell, and if you try to shoot their shell, they retaliate. So the key to fighting these enemies is to use a very powerful one-hit spell to kill these enemies. So it de-incentivizes spamming your spells a lot. See, it retaliates, so just be careful when you're shooting around these enemies. Oh, shoot. So the damage over time doesn't affect the shield enemies. Let's see. You got more UFO enemies. Let's see if we can coax these enemies down here. And now you have a mana bar that limits the amount of spells you can cast in a certain amount of time. See, it goes down. Now we can't spam the spell as fast as we want. This is why it's important to use the towers to your advantage, so that you can preserve mana for the later levels. Come on, slow him down. I'm running out of mana. Let's get some mana upgrades here, and maybe some speed upgrades. Now here's an interesting thing, maybe rage upgrade. You can also upgrade the towers themselves. So like, let's say we upgrade the fork tower. Now instead of just shooting 2 projectiles, now they shoot 4 projectiles. And you're going to need this on the later levels because they do get very difficult and a lot of enemies do start spawning. Okay, let's finish up this level. There we go. Pick up some stardust. Now the different waves have different combinations of enemies that you have to fight through. There we go. Uh-oh, wrong spell. There we go. All right. I'm now going to go to level 2 and show off what's that about. Let's get infinite stardust and infinite lives. All right, now the second level introduces some new enemies now, called these Bullet Man enemies. They like to home in on you and swarm you using their numbers. Now it's very important to use these spell towers to augment your spells to hit more enemies, or else you're gonna get swarmed very easily. Trust me. Now, on the second level, as you can see, we're fighting through an asteroid belt as well. So now you can have all these different asteroids that come and bombard you. Now let's get some upgrades here. Let's buy the rest of our spells. Maybe a couple of mana upgrades, pierce upgrades. Now here's something cool you can do. You have a black hole spell that moves slowly, right? And it's a control type spell. You can move enemies with it. Now if you shoot it through the pierce tower, then you can manipulate the enemy movement like so. You can move the enemies around. There you go. It's very powerful, but it also costs a lot of mana to use. Anything you want to say there, Elijah, as I try to get through this level?
Alright, so these enemies here that you see bouncing around the screen are the Death Star. They don't shoot any projectiles, but they do bounce around the screen very fast, so in this case you might want to shoot a comet spell to try to slow them down so you can take them out more easily. You can see here we have more Death Stars spawned, and You also have some asteroids here that you're also trying to avoid. You can't kill the asteroids, you have to completely avoid them. You can't just shoot at them and get rid of them. So you see here, you just bought some upgrades. Put in some more stardust. That's another wave completed.
All right, so now we have more combinations of different enemies, so it starts to get very hectic. Imagine I wasn't playing on infinite lives right now. It does get very difficult. Though you can buy more health, but as you can see, the health packs get more expensive as you buy them. So it does. So the more you rely on these first aid kits, the harder the stage is going to get. So
this
now
is
I'm going to
also
rely
the
on
only
these.
way that you can regenerate health throughout the stages. You can't get health any other way unless you buy it through the Shop of Stardust.
Boom. There we go. AoE effect. Now they're taking damage over time. Boom. There we go. All right, let's try the other stages. All right, so this is, oh shoot, let me turn on the cheats, please. All right, so this is the third stage. You want to go over the enemies?
Yes. So this enemy here that you see attached to the towers are disruptors. Until you kill them, you're not allowed to use any of the benefits that come with these towers. So you're not allowed to orc, explode, or pierce unless you kill these enemies first. So for these types of stages, you want to get rid of those enemies first so you can use the towers, and then focus on the other enemies afterwards. Let's see here. He has the fourth tower freed, so now he's able to work all of his projectiles into multiple. And typically when you progress through levels, you're able to keep all the power-ups and upgrades that you acquired throughout past stages. So if you go from stages 1 through 6, you'll be able to keep everything that you bought up to that point.
All right, so here's something interesting that I found. So now, let's get our mana regen up. So now, for those people with fast reflexes, you can the laser spell has no shot cooldown, so you can shoot it as fast as you like for those with fast fingers. But now you have to watch your mana. Here's something interesting. The other spells, on the other hand, have cooldowns on how fast you can shoot them. I'm spamming as fast as I can. But those who are smart, you can do something like this, where you can change spells and rapid fire your skills. This was built into the game specifically so you can do this.
And that pretty much is all the time that we have for today. Thank you very, very much, everyone.
Hello again. This is Peter again. Apologies for the camera not working. Happens. But hello again. This is Peter. My primary question is, what inspired the design of the towers in this game? I was curious. I think there was a lot of talk about that, and we were curious about like how you guys intended to have the towers like spice the game up, essentially.
Oh yeah. So when we first initially pitched the game, it was originally going to be a tower defense game, right? And then from there, we started thinking, well, tower defense games aren't very interactive, and how we don't want the player just sitting around. So we were having we made a compromise where, okay, so let's have the player use the towers, combine the towers with their own spells, and try to augment it in a certain way. So now we tried to do like a planet defense game where it's still like a tower defense game, but you shoot manually and use the tower. You were originally able to place the towers with your stardust or your money. But then again, and then we thought that still isn't interactive enough. So in the end, we settled on a twin stick shooter while keeping the tower effects in play.
Cool. If I could ask a follow-up question very quick then, were there any plans to have like the towers be movable at some point or have like a planet to defend, seeing as you guys said the original plan was this for us to be a tower defense game?
Yes, we did think about having having to defend the tower and having to defend like a planet, right? So we were preventing enemies from getting to the planet itself. But then when we added the implementation to move the player around, and then it became this idea of like how now we're gonna have 2 health bars. That's gonna be confusing, and how are we going to incentivize the player to like dodge the bullets? Does taking damage on the wizard also take damage on the planet? That also doesn't make sense. So in the end, we didn't implement the health bar for the planet itself, and the towers are pre-placed, and that's mostly because we were trying to see, okay, how do we make each level different? So having the towers pre-placed in a strategic area, you can't just spam one tower and it forces the player to like use the towers that's given to them.
All right. Seems like no other judge has questions to raise, so thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You know, key thing, ever since I graduated from Stony Brook, I kind of miss it. And I'm sure most of our alumni also miss Stony Brook as well. But however, visiting Stony Brook in these conditions it's quite difficult, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but you can play Stony Brook 3000, which is a game that takes place on our home sweet home, the Stony Brook campus.
Great, now I can visit Stony Brook from the comfort of my own home.
All right. Hello. My name is Amber Yang, and today I'll be presenting to you the game Stony Brook 3000. Now, in this game, which obviously takes place on Stony Brook campus, you'll be a student in the year 3000. Although things have changed a bit, like the students attending the university and what galaxy they're from, a few things have remained the same, such as the brutalist architecture and, of course, the penultimate question, what is a sea wolf? So, in this game, players are tasked with navigating the campus to complete quests and various objectives while learning more about what it means to be a Stony Brook student. This was originally conceptualized by fellow CS student Regina Wong in spring 2020, but it came to a halt after the COVID-19 pandemic hit. So, let's get started. And let's start by asking this person what is up. And it looks like they're having a bit of a crisis as indicated by their flailing body language. But we're trying to find Wolfie so that he can help answer our question about what a sea wolf is. So, in the year 3000, there are also a few other things that have gone wrong, such as the goose mutation problem. As we know, geese are a menace to the Stony Brook campus, and they've only become worse as time has progressed, growing in size and aggression as a whole. We need to find out the students' flash drive so that he can tell us where Wolfie is. So let's head on over to Roth Pond so that we can see if we can get back his flash drive. And as we progress through the game, we can press tab to view any sort of quests or information that we have, such as what's a sea wolf and the missing film, which is the quest that we currently are tracking. So let's make our way over to Roth Pond by walking by the sack. And as you can see, we can press shift to run and pass by the different buildings and scenery that surrounds the campus. Much of the buildings and student models were modeled by ITS 102 students due to the sheer amount of buildings and characters that needed to be made within a short period of time. We could see some students out in front of the computer science building, and we can see the goose, though it cannot be interacted with right now due to its aggression and our unpreparedness. So let's talk to this fellow right next to us. Alright, surely there's some way to get rid of that goose. But of course, it's not as easy as we think. Geese are very tenacious creatures if we haven't already seen from Untitled Goose Game, and sometimes we have to deal with things in alternative ways, like scaring it off with an air horn. We have to retrieve some items in order to do that. But yes, we have to. This person needs some help creating their boat for a Roth Regatta, and let's know that we need to get some materials. We can ask if he wants to buy more, but he's a college student, and as we all know, college students are kind of broke when it comes to these kinds of things. So let's go find some art student. Let's go find an art student. Hopefully they'll have some cardboard for us. So let's make our way back to the Stoller Center. And I'm going to run so that we can speed things up a little bit. But as you can see here, we have a majority of West Campus modeled, at least the one encased by Circle Road. And as we continue to iterate upon this project and continue forward, we hope that future game people interested in game development, especially those part of the Stony Brook game developers, will be able to continue to add more quests of their own and even add themselves in the form of this game. This art student is having a bit of a trouble and as you can see, they have plenty of cardboard scattered around yes, the monkey is from Blender. But they have a lot of cardboard that they're willing to depart with so that we can use. This game was originally created with the intention to help students learn their way around campus without having to leave the comfort of their own homes. So that is something that we definitely plan to add for the future as like an overhead map and telling them where to go as a way so that you're not out in the sun and constantly suffering from getting lost. All right, let's buy some food from our typical fundraiser person at the sack, and let's run back and deliver the food to the artist. All right, so let's give this person some food. Let's see. And then once we give that to them, we should be able to pick up that little monkey statue and deliver it to the person. But before we do that, I see that we have also a quest to get an air horn from the stadium. So to reduce some time, I'm going to head over to the stadium and see if there's anything over there. As you can see, we also have a chemistry building modeled over here. So let's travel through the tunnel and get over there as fast as possible. You could probably speedrun this game if you really wanted to. There are probably some strats you could come up with, but unfortunately you can't jump to get any faster. We got a lacrosse player out in the front of the stadium called Nelson Netty, and he wants our help. So some of the team members thought it'd be funny to hide his gear, and he's making us get his stuff. We don't have a choice in the matter because he's self-aware and knows that this is a video game, so he's taking full advantage of the situation. There's a big chemistry building that we can search through, and let us go through. And look, there's some lacrosse gear over here that we can pick up and deliver back to him. All right, so let's give it to him. And he gives us an air horn, but unfortunately it's broken. So now we have to go back to the new computer science building in order to get it fixed. Why he wants us to have to go to the new computer science building, I have no idea. But let's take his advice anyways and head on back there. It's right by where we need to deliver our cardboard sculpture anyway. Let's take an alternate route by the sack instead of going down the same route that we usually go. As you can see, we can also have Frey Hall, Harriman Hall, Earth and Space Science Building, and of course the sack bus loop. The blue bus, of course, is not from SBU, but don't tell it that. Let's make our way around here. And let's see these people who are out in front of the computer science building doing some interesting things, shall we say. Let's ask them to fix our air horn. You're computer science, not a mechanical engineer. But we can see very easily that the compression can was punctured. We needed to scare off the goose at Roth Pond, but of course, that is not good enough. We have something, thankfully, that computer science students and engineering students were working on to replace it, to solve the ultimate goose problem called the Goosinator 5000. However, there's something wrong with the code, and there's obviously needs to be fixed before we use it. Explained about rubber ducking, and in order to do that, we need to retrieve a rubber duck so that this person can successfully debug their code and give us the Goosinator 5000. Not another fetch quest. But let's get through this, and let's look around the new computer science build, and the old computer science building, rather. So let's see over here, there's a little present over here to pick up a rubber duck. We can see the outline of Javits and humanities, and we're gonna peek back over here real quick so that we can finish up the information. So let us give, yep, here it is. All right. But it looks like I'm running out of time, so for now we could just deliver the Rothkopon sculpture and give him the cardboard box and information that we want. Anyways, you'll have to finish the game on your own terms in order to figure out where Wolfie is and to finish the game as a whole. But if you want, this is available to play on your own to explore the Stony Brook campus and what we have modeled so far. But thank you very much for your time and consideration, and have a good day.
All right. How extensive is the map? The map of the campus?
So currently, the campus contains a wide variety of the main buildings within Circle Road. We still have quite a few buildings that need to be modeled, such as you saw, the engineering building was kind of just a white block, and the back of the library was also a white block. However, with further iteration upon by the Stony Brook Game Developers Club, and of course future students associated with the club, we hope to eventually expand outwards towards maybe even east side dining, west side dining, the football field, and tennis courts, and so on and so forth, so that eventually we can even have a fully modeled campus. And who knows, maybe we could even have a hospital tunnel that leads all the way over there.
And is there any way to keep track of all the people that you've been that you're doing, errands for?
Yes. In the demo of the game, we had a little quest tab in the using the tab key where you could check and see what quests are concurrently doing. With the implementation of an overhead map in future iterations, we hope to also have little checkpoint markers to show you where interactable NPCs can be and how to make your way to them. We wanted to use an overhead map instead of a mini map because we wanted people to learn how to navigate on their own terms and not just rely on the pointing arrow.
That's all I have.
Well, everyone, we're almost at the end. Time really flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, sometimes I wish I could just stop time, just have more time.
Stopping time like in Time Raider?
Stopping time like in Time Raider.
Well, I guess it's time for Time Raider.
Hello, welcome to Time Raiders. Our game is a physics-based puzzle platformer developed by me, Alexander Chin, and my teammates, who would like to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Zachary Grandison.
Hello, I'm Ishan Wankabala.
Shiki 1.
Now, a game you play as a tribal girl called Pace, looking for an all-powerful relic deep within the jungle temple. In order to make your way through to the relic and past the ruins, you need to use a fraction of the all-powerful item that can stop time for an instant. You can add kinetic energy to your environment to create platforms to boost yourself past obstacles.
Here you see, can move around, basic WASD. You also have, can use sprint to move a little bit faster than your normal speed with this. These animated ice blocks show blocks you can hit with your attacks with click. You can also do air attacks to hit them. These blocks can bounce up, they can bounce down. Here we have the time stop, where any object that's in motion will stop, and then it will move that same momentum after. And if you hit the object, it will move with that momentum that you kind of stored up in it. And here we see that there's a little bit of an obstacle we can't jump over typically, so we can do this and ride the object up. There is also, between these ice objects, you can hit them into each other. And there's a little bit of collision between them, so that's something you can play around with in some other puzzles. And that's it for this very simple first level. We can move on to the next one. So again here, similar situation. You can ride the block up. You can also cancel time early by, we have our time stop set to Q to stop the time. You can click it early to cancel it. Right here, in case I mess this up, I'm gonna set my spawn point with a little cheat code. And for here, we see that you can't get up here by jumping. So there's a few ways you can actually get past this. One way that we have is you could do hit the block right under, and then you would have to be quick enough to get up there and get on it before it moves away. Another way is if you get on the block and you can use that collision I mentioned earlier, you can hit it and it'll move a little bit, and now you have enough space to stand on the platform and hit the block up normally, nice and easily.
A lot of our puzzles have multiple ways to solve it. It depends on what approach you see fit to do so. It's very open-ended.
So right here, you see too far before for us to go down, but if we hit the block down, we can stop time before it falls all the way, and we can make it pass. That'd be a good kind to mention. All of the background art was done by Ishan. Did a good job with all the background art for each of the levels. That's great. And for all these level sprites as well. All the sprites you see. The character sprite was done by
me, Alexander.
Yes. So for this one, we have implemented some spikes here. If you jump on them, you die and get sent back. So you have to find a way around them. In this case, you can jump far enough and go all the way up there. You could also do something like this. You gotta be really quick though. Right here, you can see that we have chasm you can't pass. Here you can use the fact that it bounces off of walls a little bit to help you get up there. Right here, past this, you can see that there's the exit, but you get blocked there. So, So for all the level designs, at any point if you die in a level, normally you would get sent back to the start. Levels are like about short enough that it won't be too much of a burden. You'll get annoyed by doing it over and over again. So That's kind of like for most of the levels except our last one, which is the very big ultimate long level. Just to show up a few more levels that have some core concepts, I'll skip ahead a little bit to a few other levels. This is a nice one with some pretty good art in the background. Very fast going up on that one. When you move on a block, you do carry a little bit of momentum after you leave it. So you can see here, carry a little bit of momentum going off to help you move through the stuff. And here we go. Skip over one more level. This was a bit of an interesting level that we tried to do with some different situations from the other levels.
You ever played a companion cube level from Portal? About the same principle. Get the block all the way to the end.
I'd like to mention that this level is made especially difficult because the use of checkpoints or like saving your place in the game would not work because the block would automatically respawn at the beginning of the level. So for this one, you have to start it and do it in one run from the beginning every single time.
On the plus side, there is the way to go back to the start where the block is if you do happen to mess that up.
Yeah, we have a dedicated button to restart the level whenever you need to.
There we go.
Yep, Ace has a head of steel. Can take blocks to the head anytime.
So here is where you have the last part where you'd have to keep bringing the block. And
say goodbye to the block.
Line it all up. And so here is our last level. Sort of a much longer level where you can use all what you learned to help go through everything. You might not have enough time to go through all of it, but I'll try to get through as much as I can. Yeah. Can I get this through here? Nope. Too much. Go around here, and I think we have enough space. Yes, we do.
So, one of you asked if this was inspired by Breath of the Wild, and yes, that's how our main concept came from the stasis rune from Breath of the Wild. We thought we wanted to build on the concept of where people clung on to the stasis objects and they used it to set themselves flying, so we thought our idea would come from that.
Myself stuck there. That's unfortunate. For the player, the general player movement, I wanted it to be, wanted it to just kind of feel kind of fluid and not too airy for the jumps, that you can move around where you need to go. so you can catch the blocks wherever you need to be. Here, so last mention. I can do a little last mention. All of our UI was done by Shiki. Very good job. Some of the colors. And there's the little sparkles here. All right, I think that's all the time we have. Hope you liked our game. You can play it if you want. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us, and we hope good luck to all the other competitors.
So yeah, I think the mechanic looks really cool, and the game looks like a lot of fun. I was wondering if you had like experimented with any other shapes or like different variations of the object you get to interact with.
I'd say that's probably one of the things we wanted to do the most that we didn't have time for. I'm kind of a little bit limited with the block structure, but even with that, I wanted to have some different types. Maybe have a concept of mass so that objects may be smaller and bigger, and you can move them with different forces. Maybe have some objects that you need to move to certain places, so it kind of forces where they should go instead of it just being something you can leave around wherever you want. There's a lot of ideas that could have been left on the table that I wish we had more time. We definitely try to implement.
So
that was
yeah, I
something
think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, and then we kind of just ended up scrapping it to flush this more out.
My turn?
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry.
All right, so I had a question about the checkpoint system. I think you guys said like during the presentation that like you're using a cheat code to put the checkpoint system, but it seemed like it actually worked pretty well. So were you thinking of like having something like that in the actual game?
Yeah, it worked pretty well. So we were thinking of putting it in like some sort of quick save thing. So you just reload from the same position you were before.
Yeah, for the last level, if you played it, it's very long, and a level like that, I think you would definitely want that system in. For most of the other levels, they're mainly designed kind of like short enough that it won't be too frustrating to get set back. But as you would make bigger levels, you would definitely consider implementing that as sort of like a core system in the game.
Cool, sounds good.
Thank you.
Oh boy, I can't believe we're at the end already. I feel like as if my soul just came out of my body.
Well, you got to get a grip onto your soul before you know who the winner is.
You're right. I wouldn't want to miss out on finding out who the winner is this year.
I believe our last game, Twin, will be able to combine your soul and body before everything ends.
Oh, by the way, this is a fake Norman. Quite sus when
No, I am the real Norman.
No,
What are you talking
no,
about?
You're a sus.
Nope.
You're very sus.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tian.
And I'm Zhen.
Yeah, and this is our game called Twin, which you can see right here. So we have made a puzzle platformer, and the premise of this game is that you play as Gray, an unfortunate individual whose body and soul have been separated into two different beings, and your goal is to navigate with your body and soul throughout the 6 levels of the game, overcoming obstacles, navigating through platforming challenges and puzzles, and avoiding enemies in order to reunite your body and your soul. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it here. I've got the game loaded up right here, and we can see that upon loading the game, you can see a little bit of exposition. Gray enters the mysterious portal that you definitely should not enter, and lo and behold, his body and soul have become separated. So moving ahead, you can see a little bit of splash text here, and we're going to go ahead and move into level 1.
So the first level, you're introduced to the body and soul. You figure out that each of them can interact with different blocks, and there are many different blocks to interact with. There's the freeze block and unfreeze. Also the portal.
Yep, we've now reached our 2 end portals, and that is the level completed. So this demonstrates a few mechanics like freeze blocks. This guy, Mr. Satan, who we'll get to later.
In the second level, you're introduced to enemies and lovers. So one thing you could do is trap them with lovers and trap the enemies inside.
A lot of things in this game, such as enemies, tiles, objects like levers and doors, are all player specific. So for example, the soul is trapped by these blue walls, whereas the body can pass right through. And here in level 3, we're building on the mechanics that the player learns in the first 2 levels, like player-specific objects, switching between the 2 players, controlling them both at once, and we're building on that with increased platforming challenges. Here, use these trampolines to get up here. And even though I'm not looking at the body, I can still use the lever. At these hogs. And then I can now safely get up here, now that the hogs have been disposed of. Here's just another platforming challenge where you have to take advantage of the fact that the characters can jump on each other's heads, and then you can use that to get over these lines. And here I bring the soul over, position them accordingly, jump through the portal, and now they're both in front of their respective end doors, so I can finish level 3. And here, we have to use the soul to open this section up here. You can see I'm being blocked, but if I flip that lever with just the right timing, I can make my way across to the other side of this obstacle. Same thing goes through here. Here, I'm using this whole head on top of head trick to avoid these enemies, like in level 2. Get them in front of the portals, and now it's the body's turn to protect the soul from these spikes. Got some more boars, but I can just kind of dispose of these without any issues. There we go. And now I need to send the soul down there to collect the last 2 coins. The coins are important because this level contains this guy, Mr. Seaton. What he does is he takes a certain number of coins in order to open the end portal for the soul, which allows you to beat the level. So it's sort of like a side objective. And that's level 4 done. I will say that levels 5 and 6 are quite difficult, so I'm actually going to play these with invincibility on, for the sake of time. It's just one of the cheat codes that we have built in. So this level's quite intense, so I'm not sure how much explaining I can do as I concentrate here, but I'll try my best. I'm not getting this one. There we go. I'm invincible. I would have died there, but for the sake of finishing the game in time, I'm keeping it on. And that's level 5 done. And last but not least, level 6. This level is a little bit more open-ended in the way that it doesn't quite tell you exactly where to go right off the bat. But you can see from the center pyramid here that our goal is to collect 9 coins, and we will be doing that 3 coins at a time. These items here allow you to unfreeze the other player. So we have got them both free, and now we just need 3 more coins, which we can find over here to the right. Even though I'm invincible, I'm still going to try and time this jump. I probably would have died there. Oh, I messed that one up. Whoopsie. That's okay. And there we go. I've caught the soul. Of course, cheating a little bit here, but timed. And now we've got the last 3 coins. We can bring our players over here. Flip that lever, go down into the basement dwelling of Mr. Satan, and use our 9 coins to open that portal, which allows us to beat the final level of the game. And here is our last level. You can see that it's just... whoopsie. It is a little bit different than the others. We have... the players are able to collide with each other, and it's really just a staircase that brings you to the end of the game. However, there is a little Easter egg that we put in. For those of you that are lucky enough to walk through this wall, there is a little secret room with a whole bunch of coins saying, "Thank you for playing." Just as a little reward for the especially curious gamer. And that's about it, so we'll head back through the wall to the end of the game, to climb one last set of stairs, fall down one last pit, and we beat the final level. And thus we are presented with the end of the game. The 2 halves of Gray, the body and the soul, finally reunite with each other, and Gray is reborn in a flash of light. And having now beaten the game, you can see that the splash screen at the beginning here has now continued. And I believe that is it for our presentation. Thank you very much. Hello, guys. Peter here again to round out the night. The first question I want to ask is, how did you guys divide the work? Like, who handled level design? Who handled art? Who handled handling the levels, the lever hitting mechanics, for example? How did you guys divide that up? What was your game plan, your plan of attack?
Then would you like to answer that one?
Okay, so I did the most of the game level handling, so it would parse the level based on the JSON tile map, and then it would make the level based on that. And Brant did most of the artwork, and Tian also helped with the game mechanics.
Yeah, Zen was primarily doing programming and the building of the train manager and the parsing. Our other team member Brant primarily did artwork and sound effects, and I was kind of somewhere in the middle doing a little bit of both. And as for the levels, we each made 2.
Wow, sounds like you guys had this all really thought.
You would think so.
Can I ask what inspired you guys? Maybe I missed this during the pitch, but can I ask what inspired you guys to like make a game about this, and like how you came down to this mechanic of 2 people controlled by 1 button?
Sure. So we were definitely inspired by a lot of old Flash games from roughly 10 years ago. Games like Fireboy and Water Girl, and There's Only One Level are ones that come to mind. You can probably see the similarities between Fireboy and Lava, or whatever it was, if you've played that. But we wanted to make a puzzle platformer in that similar vein, but we wanted to have some unique mechanics. So, we ended up settling on the idea of controlling 2 players at the same time, which is, confusing and a little frustrating, but it opens up a lot of possibilities with multitasking and things like freeze blocks, which normally in video games, being frozen is a bad thing, but in this game, it's interesting because you actually are given an opportunity where you only have to move 1 character at once, which is actually very nice and a big relief.
It's funny that you bring that up because I literally said at the beginning, this looks like Fireboy and Water Girl, and I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised to see that was one of the inspirations.
That was definitely an inspiration, and I'm glad it shows because that game's great.
Yep, agreed. Well, if nobody else has anything to say, thank you for your time, and thank you for answering our questions.
Thank you very much for having us.
And that's all the games for tonight, folks. But it's not over yet. We still have to decide who is the winner. And that's up to the judges. As the judges may know, Professor McKenna should have sent you a form where you can vote for what your favorite game is. So stick around afterwards and see who wins. In the meantime, Keating?
Oh, let's summarize the games that we have for tonight. So the first game we had was Animals Revenge, which is a tower defense game with angry animals. And next we have Card Capsules, which is a puzzle game using cards. And then we have Crash Planting, which is another puzzle game in 3D using plants and objects to get through obstacles. Next we have another plant game, Dr. Botany, which is a game about growing and protecting a plant from monsters. Next up, we have House Furry, which is a boss-based game with a story of the Seven Sins. After that, we have The Rage of the Sea, which is a bullet hell dungeon with randomized items. And next one, we have Road, which is another bullet hell game going through the desert and many different areas. After that, we have Space Wizard with the different towers that you have to hit through to upgrade your attacks. After that, we have Stony Brook 3000, which is the game we have aliens and students on our campus. And after that, we have Time Raider, which has an interesting mechanic of freezing the time while trying to get through the stage. And last of all, we have Twins, which is the game with the soul and the body separated, and we have to get to the goal. And all the games presented tonight can be found on the Stony Brook Game Programming Competition website. You can find this information in the Twitch description under the competition info down below. Please don't forget to join our club's Discord if you're interested. The link is also in our Twitch description.
And if any alumni of Stony Brook decide to join our Discord server, you're also available to like request an alumni tag as well, which, by the way, only alumni can have. So get it while you can. So yes, thank you very much. Like all these games were like, despite being only 11 games, all of them were amazing. They blew last year's games out of the waters. Like I would know because I was there. Yeah. So despite going through a pandemic, despite hosting this on Twitch for twice in a row, like Stony Brook game developers survived throughout all this, and we have done it while like our wonderful e-board. And starting next semester, Stony Brook Game Developers is now an official club at Stony Brook University.
Yay!
Yay! So, yeah, so good luck to like the future e-board, especially Keating here, who's gonna be the new vice president, as well, and all that. And yeah, and also our future president, Mel, who's probably in Twitch chat right now. So say hi, Mel. Introduce yourself. And she's also gonna be the one who's gonna be hosting this competition next year. So you'll see her there. And hopefully next year the competition will be back in person. And of course, yes, thank you to all the judges for taking time out of the day and coming here, judging our games as well. Thank you to like all the audience for coming and watching. Thank you to our eBoard members. Thank you to like the people that made all our assets this year. They were really amazing assets. We had a lot of talented people behind the scenes. Yes, we are very official now.
Finally.
Yes, we are finally at the end. I can't believe this. So, chat, which game this year was your favorite? Tell me about them.
I see Hell's Furry, Battletoads. Wait, what?
I don't think Battletoad was in this.
Oh, I see a lot of twins.
Oh, Hell's Fury.
A lot of twins and Hell's Furry. Fortnite too. I wish that was in our competition.
Among Us. Super Mario Bros. 3.
Shark Boy Love.
Minecraft.
What's Gex?
Glover. Hell's Fury is a completely different game. You guys seem to really like Hell's Fury.
Oh, there's one card Capsules.
Yes, it's quite a good card game, wouldn't you say?
Yes. You know what my favorite game is? Kirby.
Your video is still lagging for me, but hey, Kirby, yay! Okay, so I guess we'll have to show off some guest games now.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, let's transition to that then.
Well.
Go.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're live.
Hi.
The Steam judges.
Hi. My name's Mike. I'm Stony Brook alumni, and I just wanted to show on the stream my game that I've been working on. It's a music puzzle game. Yeah, it's just a short trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's called Pulsync. It's a game for iOS, and it should be out in the next 2 weeks or so. That's it.
Unfortunately,
Thanks.
there was no sound. But please tell us what this game is about.
Yeah, it's just a match 3 game that you play to the beat of music. So it has 4 songs that I got from some friends, and each one has like different amount of tiles, different beats, different speeds, stuff like that.
That sounds very awesome, especially for those who like music as well and games, I believe.
Yeah.
All right. So who wishes to speak about what they have next?
Hey, I'll go.
Okay. So what do you have for us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Martin, class of 2006 alum. So I have a product called Pixicade that basically turns your drawings into video games. So you draw a picture on paper, you take a picture of the drawing, and 30 seconds later, it's a game that you could play on your iOS or Android device. We sell a kit in stores. You'll see it on Amazon, our website now, and you'll see it later this year in Walmart and CVS and pretty much everywhere you go to. So really excited about the launch of this product and happy to share it with you all.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly fun. I believe you showed it off before all the pandemic, and hopefully after the pandemic's all over, you can come back to us and show it off to like new members, like eBoard, like new members of the club as well.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to come back and show you what we're doing with all the updates that we've been working on.
Hopefully the new eBoard's looking for it as well. So who's next on the chopping block?
I can go. I can go next. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Bam, 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 and bam. There we go. Hopefully it is shared. Just double check that. Make sure I'm not going crazy.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. So, quick introduction before I play the video. Me and Julius in the other corner, we are working on a 2D RPG. It's right now just started its beta phase and everything like that. So I'm going to show you a quick trailer, and then I'm going to show you one of the new updates that we have planned coming out soon.
This is going to be slow and very, very painful, at least for more of us. I'm glad to see that we still have hope. Nothing dies like hope.
So what you quickly saw was just that was our beginning of our alpha trailer and everything like that, right? Oh, no, our beta, open beta live, right? And we have updates going out. We recently pushed an update for like a multiplayer version of this game where you can actually run it like it was a Minecraft server, and you can actually go through a bunch of puzzles with friends. And we have a giant replayable labyrinth. And also, one of the more future updates we have going on, want to make sure my screen's still sharing, cool, is that we actually retexturized our map to now have a more 3D feel, which gives like an old school Pokemon-like feel, right? And that's going to be coming out soon. So, Julius, anything else you want to add about the game? I'm going to stop sharing so they can see your beautiful face.
We're not on Kickstarter anymore, so don't look for us on there. That's an old.
Oh yeah, we're not Kickstarter.
That's
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
not really though.
It seems like
it's pretty much a bullet hell puzzle game with like a 2D RPG element.
Lots of fun story stuff. Yeah, it's cool. You should check it out. And you can. Oh, we should probably say you can download it for free. The first like quarter-ish is on Steam for free right now, and you can play it. So go do that.
That sounds amazing. And also, I believe you guys also showed off your game as well to us and also Stony Brook Computing Society as well. So hopefully in the future you guys can come back with like a future version and also show off even more of what you got.
Yeah, thank you.
So who wants to go next? Tom, you've been here for a while. Tom,
I don't think we can hear you, Tom.
We can't hear you, Tom. Maybe check your input device.
We also accept hand signs and spoke signals if you can't talk. Just saying.
For now, Twitch chat, do you guys have any questions for any of the guests that has presented their stuff already while I wait for Tom? Apparently a lot of people wants me.
I think you're too good for them, Norman.
Okay, you want me? I'm right here. I'm right here. Stand up? What do you... Hello.
Come on, man. Hit us with your best joke. I'm waiting.
Oh dear. I'm not really good at coming up with jokes. Usually, I kind of need like a punchline or something. Or like a build up. Like a stand. You want me to stand up? I have... Yeah, look, I can stand up. Okay, look. How was my day? Very stressful preparing for all this.
I got you. I got a knock-knock joke, but you got to start.
Oh, knock.
Who's there?
Wait, what? Oh, I feel like was I baited into that one?
Come on, finish the joke, man. You can't
Norman.
just leave it hanging.
Oh.
Norman.
Yes, Professor McKenna.
We have a winner.
Oh, we do.
Oh, yes!
So, would you mind, like...
I'm gonna count them down from 3rd place to 2nd place to 1st place.
Oh, hold on. I'm not ready yet for this.
Not ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, let me just...
Where's Keating? Is she over here now?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am here.
Is your camera on? Okay. In 3rd place, the 2021 Stony Brook University Game Programming Competition, Card Capsules. Yay!
I should probably grab my camera here.
In 2nd place, Hell's Fury. And in 1st place, the winner of the 2021 Game Programming Competition, Stony Brook University, Twin. Carrying on the tradition of the last game winning, which seems to always happen.
Oh, whoops. There we go.
Anyway, I do want to give a special shout out to Joe Weaver, who was a finalist here and who had a game, but also really did almost all of the work on the game engine that 9 of the games in this competition used. Did absolutely incredible work, has just graduated, and is actually now going to work for Martin's company. But I really want to thank Joe so much, did great work, and has enabled the games this year. I mean, you look at how good the games were this year, much of it is due to his work in particular. So thank you very much, Joe. Congratulations to the Twin team, everybody. We hope to see you next year. Keep in mind, I will post all of your trailers on YouTube for everybody to watch. The games are already available on the games site for everybody to play. Looking forward to seeing great games again next year. If you're watching this competition at home and you're a student who will be here next year, to work on your game and get ready to present it next year. You know what the competition is all about. Next year we will be in person. We will also stream as well. So we hope to do a hybrid next year so that we can have as many people in attendance and participating and watching it online as possible. So thank you everyone, and thank you very much to Norman and Keating for helping with the hosting duties.
No problem. It was fun.
In the judges channel, we've had great fun talking about all of your great jokes that you've been making, and there are some ex-presidents of the Stony Brook game developers over there. Alec is there, and so is Peter, and everybody is over there having fun, enjoying the event. So hope to see everybody next year. Thank you very much, everyone.
Let me turn on my camera for this last moment.
Yes. Let's get all the,
it's like New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
whoa!
There's a lot of confetti going on right now. It's still spinning on my screen. Hey! Hold on, let me get the confetti. Hold on. Yay, confetti! Oh, Spencer!
Yay!
Let's get everyone in.
Hello, Spencer.
Yeah.
Where's
Yay!
the Smash trailer? Does it look like we have a Smash trailer? Kirby's already in the game. Go play him.
Yeah. I wonder what would
by
happen.
the way, one thing I forgot to mention, I don't have the plaque. It's in my office. Keep in mind for the winners, for Zhen, for Brant, or for Tian, your names are going to be engraved on the plaque, so you'll be able to come to our department and find your names engraved there in 100 years from now.
Yeah, see you in Stony Brook 3000. Oh, we have the next person.
No!
Yay! We're just getting everyone in here. Ebor, just get in here. Okay?
Yeah.
Hello, Mel.
Hello.
Are you hosting next year?
She looked like she just woke up.
That's our future president awakening.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. It was fun.